In scenes shocking the world and almost certainly annihilating what's left of her waning cultural cachet, Meghan Markle was loudly booed and jeered off the international stage by outraged Olympic athletes during her misguided and uninvited attempt to share her truth across multiple events at the 2024 Paris Games. From swimming and gymnastics all the way to marquee sports like basketball and track and field, the Duchess of Sussex's mere presence at various Summer Olympic venues drew thunderous heckling, obscene chants, and even hurled debris from furious competitors deeply offended by her brazen ambush campaigning for mainstream media relevancy on their biggest athletic platform. We're in the absolute peak physical prime of our young lives here, fighting for everything we've sacrificed to be part of this once every 4-year global spectacle, yet this arrogant, thirsty, clout-chasing former D-list cable actress somehow managed to make the entire Olympics all about her own tone-deaf grievance grifting. See that Australian swimmer and gold medalist Kaylee McKeown after Markle reportedly pushed her way onto pooled decks uninvited in hopes of ambushing broadcast teams with another publicity stunt. McKeown was far from alone among the contestant community assembling in Paris for the International Games in condemning the Duchess for her excess. Indeed, USA Track and Field went so far as to formally request enhanced event security from Olympic officials after multiple American superstars like Sydney McLaughlin and Athing Mu reported being aggressively stalked and harassed, with Markle's usual laundry list of grievances over the dangers of upholding white supremacist tropes in colonized spaces. She literally would not leave me alone between rounds until I'd not only validated her self-victimizing delusions, but also paid proper obeisance to her self-stated feminist leadership for vague saves against neo-imperialist archetypes, performative allyship paradigms, and all these other psychoactivist buzz terms, recounted a visibly shaken gymnastics gold medalist who requested anonymity for fear of further reprisal. I get that she sadly needs constant affirmation as some great unheeded truth-speaking matriarch, but good Lord, woman, we're here to compete on the world's biggest athletic stage, not engage your raving narcissistic breakdowns. From squatters hiding inside sporting equipment trunks stowed on team buses, to aggressive gate crashing of reserved workout spaces, aggressively pitching rambling live telecasts documenting her perpetual suffering across the global, imperialist cisheteropatriarchal athletic industrial complex, Markle is said to have deployed every disruptive shock tactic known to starving attention mongers in a desperate, escalating bid for someone, anyone, to amplify her message of victimization and ancestral feminist atonement to the masses. However, none proved more royally disastrous than her ambush interrupting the viral Apple TV Plus interview with American basketball superstars Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi, fresh off securing Team USA their latest gold medal. The ensuing profanity-laden, caught-on-camera meltdown, in which Markle shrieked about how Griner and Taurasi had willingly propped up anti-black masculine domination by not ceding their post-Olympic spotlight to elevate her grievances against the bionic brethren's hegemonizing all athletic payments to the white banana Polly she became an instant punchline and social media laughingstock that obliterated any shred of remaining goodwill. Coming on the heels of so many other off-putting awareness stunts already sowing outrage across sporting delegations, two-time gold medal sprinter Christy Caslin spoke for many in the Olympic Village by chanting, "Go home, Meg, go home," directly into the former actress' face while flashing her medals during what's been described as a particularly hostile run-in. We've all had to shrug off invasive paparazzi, self-promoting influencers, and autograph hounds trying to hijack our Olympic highs after years of training, sacrifice, blood, sweat and tears just to taste glory at the absolute highest level, sighed Caslin. But this one crossed over into a whole other gutter zone of psychotic narcissism and inappropriate harassment just so some spoiled duchess can tokenize our accomplishments for her perpetual martyrdom publicity parade. Hell, even Ryan Lochte would have been less of an entitled nuisance. Of course, Markle herself remains defiant and completely detached from reality in response to her global disgrace at the Olympics, which she seems to have falsely convinced herself as some great triumph of smashing conventions and giving voice to those historically disenfranchised by sports exceptionalism culture. In a recently leaked, rambling audio monologue provided to her few remaining sycophants, the Duchess doubled down on casting herself as a bravely, uncompromising catalyst for deconstructing what she describes as hypermodern athleticism's birth to subjugate decolonial bodies with new revanchist permafrost across diasporic feminiscences. My supreme transient courage ships slaying velodromical hydro-feminist cytogasms only alliterates more power towards intersectioning colonialist euqueries supreming every divide and conqueror Mobius circuit manufacturing athletic pay for cesspool factorial assemblages. Markle proclaimed amidst her now typical disjointed cultural revolutionary rhetoric virtually indecipherable to even her most ardent fans. The vulgar boorishness jeering my iridochromatic rupstural ethicomartriasims openly onates their pathopsychology's mass-producing opioid praxis gassing my epistemic bioptic deservances. Yet new cyborg convoy breaches are always gestating remedial interstitial avoidance from even their snuffest shitriarchies. Whether such glossolalic tirades realize her proclaimed progress on the vanguard of disrupting oppressive elite athletic systems, or merely cement her outright derision in the eyes of former celebrity admirers and luminaries is rapidly becoming irrelevant, however. With her international shame sealing a well-documented legacy as a disgraced opportunistic scam artist too addicted to internet infamy to ever contemplate accountability or self-awareness, let alone make sense, the once heralded philanthropist Duchess is now persona non grata at the Olympic Games and all other prestigious sporting events forevermore. Ground zero for her epic public flameout resides at the always dignified Roland Garros tennis venue, where she staged her most disruptive and unhinged series of outbursts trying to hijack coverage of the French Open. After smuggling herself into the players' lounge while chanting a bizarre, high Valerian-esque esoteric ritual in hopes of channeling the attention she desperately craved, Markle was forcibly removed by 8 security guards, handcuffed while shrieking bloody murder about the island's luminous celestial betrayal, and summarily banned from the iconic Paris clay courts for life. Undeterred, the disgraced royal train wreck almost immediately relocated her self-immolating tour of chaos to nearby Roland Garros broadcast encampments, where multiple news teams required police intervention after she aggressively ambushed them chanting exorcisms while simultaneously demanding documentary airtime to lambast Sarkisian Tartanology's Fuchsilagnic provenances in franchising new fluorocalpuric qualities. Menarid Smarkanish, host of CNN's titular political affairs program, confirmed reports that the crew became so terrified of Markle's escalating psychosis that they feared for their lives and locked down their production trailers while awaiting for backup security. Imagine you're setting up for a routine remote broadcast and suddenly this erratic, wild-eyed woman starts hammering on your door like Jack Torrance in The Shining, shrieking about her protogenitive biostomachs and how we're all unwittingly hawk-emailing glottal supremacy's manufacturing hegemonides by giving femcore audiencing cycles to a regional seed tournament, the visibly shaken host recounted. Before you know it, our downlink techs were getting velcroed to the truck frames with her team's camera muzzles shoved between their eyes vowing geoscolastical vision questionings unless we summoned emergency SWAT decampment spasms awakening her Wachowski choreomentaries on the air. It was literal madness. Beyond the surreal confrontations sowing panic and havoc across media campuses, CBS Sports' Jim Nantz faced the brunt of Markle's onslaught at Roland Garros after the Duchess became irrationally convinced that the decorated broadcaster actively orchestrated the commercial airtime shutouts censoring her important racial equity messaging around the globe. After powering through calls to security and repeated rubber bullets to Nantz's production booth windshield, the Duchess ultimately orchestrated an actual hostage scenario wielding an AR-style press badge in hopes of physically commandeering entire live broadcast feeds across CBS. That lunatic walked right onto our set mid-match totally zombified in a trance state, surged past news assistants, and ripped off her high heels to brandish them at me like primitive spear points demanding we disserve all our top ramen advertorialism instantaneously evaporalizing tennis pyrogometrics, said the rattled Nantz, still visibly shaken over the hostage situation hours after ultimate extraction by French elite gendarmerie forces. At one point she ripped off her shirt too, just defaulting to gibberish spirit incantations howling about unfurling hexapodic ovocations past some terrible flame wrath epigee before